How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, I know many know about this incident that happened at what they call this, the Buffalo Wild Wings incident. Another racial incident in America. Now, some people, I guess I get on their nerves because they say I'm slow to get to the point, but this is just the true Ralph style over here. I like to take my time. I like to lay everything out. I'm very careful with my words and my diction and all of that. So I can't tweak it for one or two individuals. I have to stay authentic and true to thyself. So I have often said, my royal family, that when I see these incidents that happen now, I've been on YouTube long enough that I won't jump to it immediately. I will give it a chance to play thyself out. And instantly, I'm not going to front, I did not like what I felt in my gut. And usually what we feel in our gut, this is when I point out that because of who we are, the royal family is empathic and many don't know it because we've been so affected by the system that we doubt self. And that's that royal fire that our Father put within us. You got to keep flaming it and keeping it alive, or be around like-minded folks that's not interested in dousing or keeping your royal fire at a flicker. And so we have two brothers that are trying their best to do the right thing by these royal babies and be upstanding and let me see here, let me bring this up. Yeah, to be upstanding and coach children and do right things with children and everything. And I appreciate that. But I detected a great deal of weakness. And I pray that people are listening to me, because I'm not on this thing about putting our kings down or our queens down. But when I pick up on something, I have to stay authentic to it. And y'all know I will bring it. And what I'm detecting, I might be right. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put up a video, because I ain't gonna take it down. I'll stand on it. I'll stand on it very, very firm. But so we got two brothers, Justin and Marcus. Okay, so Marcus is, wait a minute. Yeah, Justin is the light-skinned brother. I picked up weakness. And Marcus got on my fucking nerves. That's the darker skinned brother. And I picked up a great deal of weakness. And what I fear, I think, may go the direction that I'm not happy with. And the lawyer that they have, I'm not feeling him at all. So we're going to go on this journey, my royal family. I'm going to keep it core. I want y'all to continue to keep it core. I rarely take down anybody's comments. You have to get real raggedy, and I don't always take them down. There's other people that got this pen to take it down. And whoever take the comments down, I don't know who do it. I make the final decision if I'm going to put it back up or not. I don't put them back up because you have some insight that I may not have insight on. And if you took it down, I'm going to take it down too with you. We're going to go all the way down together. Because if you got that pen, I'm letting you know that I trust your judgment. So, we got a number of videos to watch. So we're going to listen to this press conference, which is a little over 13 minutes.
to talk about the incident that happened Saturday, October 26th at the Buffalo Wild Wings, 79th and 79 and 59 in Naperville. So we were going there. We were taking our kids there on that night. We had played a few. The kids had played a few basketball games that day. One of the kids, Mike, who's here with us today, it was actually his birthday. So after basketball games, we had went to a fun center in Naperville, and then after that, all the kids were hungry, so we wanted to take them out to eat. So we went into Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was actually the first one to walk in the door. And as I walk in the door, I was greeted by the host, and the hostess came to me and asked me, "How many are in your party?" And I told them we have 15. So the host said, "Okay, let me take a second, walk over to and get set up." So I originally had told them 15, and I realized we actually had a few more than expected, so we actually had 18. So I walked over to the host who was setting the tables, and I said, "Excuse me, we actually have 18." So I wanted to make sure that he was set up to accommodate us. So I walked back up to the front. 1 or 2 minutes passed, and host comes back up front, and he says, or he asked me, "What race are you?" So he asked me what race I was, and I immediately I was appalled. I was astonished. I was in a restaurant trying to take my family, our friends and kids, to a restaurant, and I was being asked what race I was. So I was immediately astonished. I was even asked this question, but I responded, "What does that matter?" And so the host said, "Well, we have a regular customer here who doesn't want to sit around black people." Okay. So at this point, excuse me, this is a very tough time for us. So I just told him we're gonna go ahead and sit down. And at this point, there's a lot of things racing through my mind. I'm surprised. I feel disrespected. I actually, and I don't even know what to say because nothing like this has ever happened. So we go to take a seat. We kind of file in with our large party and go to sit down. We're sitting right behind this customer, this racist customer, this racist regular customer who knowingly is racist by the staff, and we sit right behind him very uncomfortably, and we sit down and take a seat at the table. And at this point, this is where I shared with Marcus and the rest of the adults kind of what was going on, and they were immediately astonished as well and surprised and almost thought I was kind of making it up, but we could realize there's some tension in the room because that racist customer continued to look back at us and give us some dirty looks. We did not speak with them, but we could tell that he did not want us there. Us being blacks, biracial, just a very unique and diverse and happy group. And obviously this bigot of a customer did not want us sitting there in a public establishment where we were wanted. So then a couple minutes went by while we were sitting there waiting, and one of the managers that came over to us, this gentleman came over to us, and he says, speaks to Marcus and I, and comes and kneels down at the side of the table and says, "Excuse me, but we're going to have to move you guys. This table is reserved." Okay. So I'm gonna let Marcus share a little bit further on that story.
How's everybody doing? Good. Just to piggyback off of what Justin said and shed a little bit of light about myself. This group that you see behind me is sincere to me because not only do I coach, mentor, and lead these kids, I've grown up with a lot of their parents, right? So I carry the responsibility of looking out, right, for the community, looking out for the kids, and it extends well beyond this group that you see behind me. So it's passionate to me. So when we discuss this matter and discuss these individuals behind me, it brought tears to my eyes after the incident. And I'm going to get into where Justin went, but it brought tears to my eyes to the point where when I walked out that restaurant that night, I called my mother, and I couldn't even speak. She answered the phone, it's dead silence, right? It's me with tears. She says, what's wrong? I said, I'm just so frustrated, right? Because not only do I carry the weight of setting an example on a day-to-day basis for this body that's behind me, right? But I now got to explain what being a black man is, right? I raised 2 black children. I was raised by 2 black parents, right? I have black grandfathers and grandmothers, right? So the most difficult situation was explaining that, because these kids need answers, and I'm always that guy to give it to them, right? So how do we have this conversation? 1, right? How important is this conversation? 2, how delicate is this conversation? 3, right? Because the message not only has to be delivered, but it has to make sense. And if you look at this group that stands behind me, nobody's older than 12, right? And it's as young as 5. So applying that message to a body of children that's that age group, and in between that age group, I'm sure it's difficult for everybody in this room, right? Even those that speak as a profession. How do you hit home? How do you translate this message, right? And we're patrons of Buffalo Wild Wings on a regular basis, right? We go play football, we go play basketball. I'm involved in everything they do. So going back to the story, we were seated, like Justin said. John comes over and he says, you know, what he says about, unfortunately, the tables have been reserved. We have to move your party. And he said, we have to move your party. So at that point, I looked at John right in his eyes and said, John, I know what's going on. I've been informed by your staff that this man is racist. This couple, not just this man, this couple are racist. And I will refuse to move because of the color of my skin. So let's really sit back and listen to what we're talking about right now, what you're asking us to do, because I'm not willing to do that. Okay? John looks at me with the blanks of stares, looking for words, right? And I'm looking at him, eye to eye. He says he apologizes, right? Says, I'm sorry, you're right. He walks away from the table. At that point, he walks away from our table, goes to the table of the patrons, right? And has a seat, pulls out a chair, and sits with this couple, right? So I can only assume that conversation. Can't tell you what it was verbatim, but we all get it, right? So he's probably having a conversation of, hey, these people don't want to move. What should I do? That's hearsay. That's assumption, right? So he's joined by Hannah, another manager at the Buffalo Wild Wings. She pulls up a seat with John and this couple, right? They continue to have conversation and discussion. So after they recap and finish with them, they come back to the table with us, right? And they greet us. So I look at Hannah and I say, Hannah, I just want to let you know the conversation that John and I had, because at this point I had realized that Hannah is John's superior, right? So the conversation's changed. Like, okay, so you're going to be the one that's going to handle the situation in the most appropriate way. That's what I was convinced of that, right? While I'm talking to Hannah, John tells Ashley a completely different story, right? So
I'm going to stop it right there. This man is talking way too much. We don't know who the hell he's talking about. And he's too emotional, way too much dialogue and everything, my royal family. Now, I know he's trying to be that stand-up person, but that, to me, is a sign of weakness. And I'm not trying to put this brother down, but there is a way that we can handle this. And they have designated themselves in leadership positions because they are, doing some wonderful things with these royals. And I can imagine with some of these royals, these women are single parents. But this dude right here, he getting on my fucking nerves.
Now I'm dialed into John and Ashley's conversation as he's telling her, I assumed that these tables were reserved. I didn't say that you guys had to move. So I immediately left the conversation with Hannah and joined into John and Ashley's conversation, because he was the most dishonest guy that I had ran across in that Buffalo Wild Wings that night. He lacked integrity at that point with me right there. Just went out the window. So I told him, John, that's not the conversation that you and I had. You told me these seats were reserved. You told me we have to move. Let's be clear, right? So John, another blank stare, the same blank stare he gave me when he told me we had to move, right? So Hannah, are you aware of this couple? Oh no, I'm not aware. They are regulars, but you know our employees gossip, right? Employees don't gossip about, they do gossip, right? About things that happen in the restaurant, sure. But gossip is not something of a racial magnitude. We don't gossip about racism. It's real. We experienced it. These alleged allegations that you guys been fed and you guys been reading about and seeing on Facebook and on the media, it's not alleged, it's confirmed. You see it, you feel it, it's real, it's right here. I'm speaking, right? This is me, this is us. I represent everything. I represent everybody at this table, right? Because this happened. So going into that, Hannah says, you know what? We were talking about, I said, so what would command your attention and John's attention? Because you guys are running this restaurant right now, right? So what commands your attention for both of you to sit at this table with this couple, right? Because we got a restaurant to run, right? I can't have two senior managers sitting at a table with one couple. We got a restaurant. Everybody does business, right? We got a restaurant to run, right? Oh, okay. So yeah, they were telling me about a Walmart experience. Oh, was that right? Okay. Well, I said at this point, Hannah, you're drowning because you're just as dishonest as John was, right? Now, I only can assume what that conversation was like because I wasn't sitting at the table. But we all know, right? John and I just had the conversation about us not wanting to move. You know, John and Hannah sit at the table with the patrons that are racist, right? It makes sense. So at that point, Hannah and John comes back to the table. We're having a conversation. We're just really trying to soak in what's going on. So Hannah actually tells me at this point, you're raising your voice, and if John feels hostile, we got to stop this conversation. And I said, I'm raising my voice because John just blatantly lied to my family and myself about a conversation. So at that point, we asked for a few minutes, and for Hannah to excuse us. She leaves and goes to the back. Collectively, as a group, we discuss what's the next move, right? So we say, you know what, we're getting up, we're leaving. You know, at this point, drinks have came, appetizers came, we sent it all back. We said, you know what, we're gonna leave. We're walking out, right? Justin and I made the decision. The group agreed. We got up and left. As we're getting up to leave, patrons are hugging Ashley. The staff embarrassed, a lot of them, right? One of the staff members in tears, crying as we're walking out, right? One of the kids, a couple of the kids, Coach, what's going on? Coach, we getting kicked out? Said, no, we're not getting kicked out. We're just not spending our money here. We're not appreciated here. We on the way out. As we make it to the front, the staff member I was saying that was crying, he went against company policy to give a phone number for us to reach out. And as we walked out, I got in the car with 6 kids having to explain what just happened.
All right, my Rayo family.
Hot.
Way too much damn dialogue for a man. Now, I totally empathize with all of the situation. And y'all know I have a few videos where I really come down extremely hard on the adults when they have royals with them and the way that they respond is weak. Very, very weak. And when Marcus got up and spoke, because he's the more talkative one, and the other brother is Justin, is that Marcus is the type of dude that think people and the other race, especially the enemy, supposed to look at him as a very stand-up individual, because he does try to do the right thing, but he whiny and wimpy and weak about it. Now, I can understand people want to go celebrate and all of that. But if you really want to teach our royals some stuff, say, hey, check this out. Y'all won a game, y'all did wonderful, or whatever it is, and you want to reward them. We gonna go shopping, and we gonna make our own wings ourselves. That's 2 teachable moments, because they can learn how to cook too as well. But to also teach them that we don't patronize these businesses. Let's try to rarely patronize these businesses and have festivities of our own in our own domain. That's the way you deal with that type of stuff. But I know they don't think like that. They think that they're supposed to walk in a place and they're supposed to be respected. Well, I'm going to say something to y'all that y'all not going to like. In this war, and I have said this often, everything that the enemy is doing in this war, negative to us, that's exactly what they are supposed to do. And our leadership, these 2 brothers, did not know how to deal with it, and you want somebody to have some sympathy for your black ass. If you don't know what system you in, you will never know what system you in. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care that you are upstanding black men and doing the right thing amongst our royals, and I greatly appreciate it. But before you even get in that leadership position, and you may be put in an embarrassing position, y'all need to have some real, you need to hook up with some men who's very established and got some backbone that will teach you on a moment's notice how to deal with the motherfucking enemy. And we need our queens in that too, as well, because it's good to get a male and a female perspective. We all have a leadership role in this village. But to step out like that, naked, and then you sitting up here trying to figure out what to do, you ain't equipped in this war. And you got these children and these women looking at you, and you feeling some kind of way, and you think because a couple of people bust out some motherfucking tears that they feel something for you. Now, in that particular situation, if they would have asked my husband or me, but I'm just going to use my husband, what race we are, he would have said, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he would have turned around quickly. He wouldn't even had to say nothing to me or our family. We would have walked, because we already know what to do in this war. Are y'all equipped? That's why I be saying to the royal family, are you taking care of your immediate situation? Are you collectively having those individual conversations that I said with people in the household that you can touch in this war? Fuck trying to talk to the masses. In the collective households. And I keep saying over and over and over, if enough of us do what we need to do on a high percentage level, it creates an energy. And that energy naturally bleeds outside of the household. We will already know what to do. And these good brothers, I don't want y'all to get me wrong. These good brothers are trying. I mean, the Justin dude, he was about to break down because he had to get before some people and talk, and he started trembling and shit. And then you got another one that just going on and on and on and on and on. A man have very little dialogue. I don't need my man running his mouth. I need direction. I run my mouth. Say this and that. And then we can critique it and follow suit. And they don't care about our tears. We got to start showing strength. We don't need our women crying, and we don't need our men crying. The babies, that's something else. Because they looking to us to be about that life. Okay. I know y'all saying, damn, True Royal been on all these different tangents. Like I said, I follow my emotions. Okay, so now we got this lawyer. I don't know about him. I don't know. But like I said, I'm following this story. And I said, dude, this reminds me of this Starbucks situation. And y'all know what I told y'all about that Starbucks situation. I meditated on that, and everything I said came true. Y'all remember that Starbucks situation with the two brothers? And they took that weak will position. I felt it. So we shall see, because I'm kind of iffy on this one. But I'm going to bring that update. So let's see what's going on now.
An alleged incident. It is a confirmed incident. If you refer to it as an alleged incident, what you're doing is you're giving space, you're providing space for those who want to deny this having happened to do so. And we can't do that any longer. What I will tell you is that, and I'm sure that you know, that the response that we've gotten from Buffalo Wild Wings is that we have elected to terminate the two employees, the two managers. And we've also decided to institute sensitivity training. It's important that you understand that we're not surprised that they fired the managers. That's what they should have done. We're not surprised that you are instituting sensitivity training. What we're surprised by is that you didn't have any already in place. We are looking to try and make sure that we do everything we can to keep the lines of communication open with Buffalo Wild Wings, because we are hoping, in fact, we are expecting that they will be good corporate citizens and that they will take this opportunity to do the right thing. They have an opportunity to be trailblazers right now, where they can show other corporate community participants what it is to stand up to racism. We're calling on them to do it. We are calling on them to do it.
Surprising pieces with it, that we're going into 2020, and we still have to deal with, like we stated, systematic racism. That's probably the most surprising part about it. But like we said, it's real. It still happens, and that's the biggest piece with us sharing the story. We didn't necessarily expect it to get what it is, but people need to know that it happens. We hear these stories. You hear about the Starbucks story. You hear about these other stories, and you say, it doesn't happen around here. This is proof that it does. And to talk a little bit more about your question with the Starbucks thing, that was a situation that had happened. You had video, but we have kids that it happened to. That's the important piece. I got to explain to my 10 and 5-year-old why we have to walk out of a restaurant. And that when they hang around with other people, because look at these beautiful kids, it's diverse. They go to school, now they have to think about, who am I around? Who's judging me? We go to another restaurant. They have to think about, who am I sitting around? Do they want us here? And me as a man, to have to get up and walk out of a restaurant when I'm supposed to be a man, a tough man, and explain that to my wife and our friends and our kids, to have to walk out of a place. Going into 2020, that is the toughest part.
You are. I'll tell you this, and be straightforward. Am I surprised? Was that like that was around the question that you was asking? Am I surprised? No, absolutely not. Be honest with you guys, I've experienced racism before, right? I've felt it, I've seen it. Just never in an establishment, right? So surprise in Naperville? Absolutely not. Right? Absolutely not. Surprised that it happened in an establishment? Maybe a little bit. But to be in Naperville 2019, do I think it'll change in 2020? Absolutely not. So to answer your question, no, I'm not surprised. I'm 32 years old. This is my first time this ever happened to me in an establishment, right? It's happened outside, been called things, been treated, different ways. The only outlet is calling the police, right? Hope somebody stands around so you can build a case. That doesn't happen for black people, right? Don't happen, right? But to be in an establishment, right, as a man, as Justin said, right, with my children, with my team, with my group, it's unacceptable. And as a man, as a coach, as a mentor, as a leader, it's a responsibility that I wear the hat to show them the right way, right? It's not about me. When John made that decision to tell us to move, it wasn't about me. That left with that question, right? It became about what I represent, right? As a coach, it came about being an African American. It came about being a mentor. It came about being a leader, right? It came about showing the right way, right? That's what it became about.
And you did it.
I disagree. They did not do it, because if you would have listened to the story really, really well, the one that's running his mouth the most, he said one of the employees handed him a corporate card to call someone. They simply did not know what to do in that situation. They were caught off guard. And I question who taught them. Because I was taught well. My children are taught well. They didn't know what to do. They just feel like we are good guys, which I feel that they are. And that you got to recognize I'm a good guy and I'm leading these children and all of that. They don't give a fuck about that. Stop patronizing these raggedy places. Y'all remember them days? There's some people up here older. When we would do stuff at home, have the whole family together. See, that's how you break the system. But all this shit about sensitivity training, fuck that. That shit is in them. That's in their DNA. I'm tired of seeing this stuff on TV where people getting up here pleading that they will treat the royal family right. They not gonna never do it. We was told to be separate. And as long as they exist, as long as this is their system, expect to be treated like a motherfucking dog. But you supposed to respond. And you want them to serve your food. Really think about this. I have more enjoyment, and I'm just speaking for thyself, when I have my family together, where I can kick off my shoes and we can cook and run around and be silly and be true to our nature, than to be all stiff in a motherfucking restaurant and worried if they serving us right. You don't know what they putting in that food. You don't know if they casting spells on it. You see how them people acting with that demon-possessed chicken sandwiches that I told y'all about. Telling you somebody doing something. But some of y'all think True Royal over here talking crazy. Some stuff I do know what I'm talking about. sensitivity training. So, one last video.
Learning a lot more tonight about that racist incident at a Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings.
WGN's Tanya Francisco is here. You talked to two of the men who were right in the middle of this.
They right in the middle of it. The conversations was had exactly with them, and it's an incident that is forcing a tough conversation about race for the community as a whole and for the young children who were there to witness it.
We all can learn from this.
Marcus Riley is looking for the lesson or lessons to be learned from the racial incident back on October 26th that led to his family and friends leaving the Naperville Buffalo Wild Wings in disgust when a black manager asked them to move tables because a white couple didn't want to sit next to a group of black people.
He's built a relationship that they cater to. They've made it okay that he's dying there. You know, how many victims have failed to him and not even known?
Riley says since the incident, he has come to learn the couple and their racial beliefs were well known to the staff.
I don't necessarily blame them for that night because without a platform and without the ability to do that provided by Buffalo Wild Wings, that doesn't happen.
The group made the decision to leave. On the way out, Riley says other customers gave them hugs. Employees looked embarrassed. One, he says, even cried. But what was more hurtful were the questions from the kids he coaches and mentors.
Coach, are we getting kicked out? Coach, why doesn't he like us? Coach, what's going on? I wasn't expecting to have this conversation with them at 10, 11, 12 years old.
Buffalo Wild Wings has since fired the two managers and plans to conduct sensitivity training. And the couple who asked that the group be moved has been banned from all of its restaurants for life. But Justin Vall, who was there with his two young sons, fears it may not be enough.
We still don't know who they are. So if that's not public knowledge, how do they enforce the fact that they're going to ban this customer, quote unquote? And how are they going to apply this sensitivity training? What does that look like?
Both men say the world is a different place for them now.
You don't want that to happen, but it did. Now, how do we graduate from that? And that's the learning lesson here.
And to the couple that kicked off the incident,
I don't feel like we'd ever be able to change their mind about the way they feel. They're intimidated by happiness and diversity, and that's what we embrace.
Governor J.B. Pritzker has reached out to Vall and Riley and the rest of the group and wants to meet with them. They hope that meeting will take place in the next few weeks. They're also hoping to meet with officials from Buffalo Wild Wings. Right now, only the lawyers are talking, even though they have no plans to file a lawsuit.
See that weak shit, my royal family? I'm telling you. See, at the end of the day, this shit is all about a business decision, and I keep putting that out to the royal family. You know? Think about it, my royal family. And see, these black men are asking America, well, what do we do next? You don't ask America that. You come to the royal family. You come to the royal family. We don't see you still trying to be inclusive in a system that's literally dying before your eyes. But on their way out, you're going to allow them to abuse you and suck as much coins out of your pocket as possible and take your dignity with it. Because their full intentions is to damage you. And your ass sat up there 45 minutes and allowed yourself, them women and those royals to be damaged. Because you don't know how to lead. And it ain't your fault. Because we got this problem. Now, hopefully we can undo this situation. Now, as I speak, we need to start training each other how to lead and to make executive decisions. That's the driving force of this video. Now, I know y'all gonna keep it core. I might have talked out of pocket. Y'all can tell True Royal this all the time. I often say keep it core. I would ask y'all respectfully to stop saying what you sorry about. That's one of the rules on this channel. I don't have that many. But you can't be sorry over here. You're royal. And just also let y'all know, after this premiere going to go to my main channel, The True Royal Family. All right? So I have to keep putting it in and putting it in and putting it in and everything. I'm having fun putting up premieres. Now, I would imagine that I might have another video on this. We shall see how this all ends. But this has nothing to do with sensitivity training and all of that. The enemy gonna be what the enemy gonna be. And we got men that are standing up trying to lead. But before you lead, my kings and my queens, again and again and again, you got to know what to do when you encounter the enemy and the enemy's supporter. And you got to be like a generator. You got to kick in. And it's got to be felt instantly. So, my royal family, render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe.